Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Learn Chess TV. This is the fifth part of the Accelerated Dragon series. In case you haven't watched the first four videos, I highly suggest you do so. I'll leave a link in the description. Please watch them and come back here so that your understanding will be better. And in this video guys, I plan to teach you the bishop c4 variation, and specifically I'll be teaching you the f3 variation, which is commonly seen in the dragon variation of the Sicilian defense. So let's start this tutorial guys. E4. Well, as you have seen, this is the standard setup of the accelerated dragon, and the nc3, bishop g7. We have seen nb3 in the first part of the series, which is the Lafleur variation, and in the subsequent parts we have seen bishop e3, and after nf6 we have analyzed bishop e2 variation in the next two parts, which is the classical system, and we've also analyzed bishop e2 followed by nb3. So we have analyzed most of the parts in the classical system, almost all the parts of the classical system, and I've even analyzed the sub-variations, and you must now be completely ready to play those variations if you were to face them on over the board. So in this video I shall teach you the bishop c4 followed by f3. So white can play bishop c4. Guys, this is normally seen in the dragon variation. White plays bishop c4 to avoid black playing d5. But after bishop c4, we just don't play d6 like in the dragon setup, but instead just hold on and we just castle here, waiting if there'll ever be an opportunity to play d5 in the future. So we castle. Guys, here there are many ways to continue. You could play queen d2, you could play bishop b3, or you could play something like f3. f3 is the standard way to continue, as I mentioned earlier in the video. f3 is the standard way to continue with the dragon variation, and it probably your opponent might play f3. So let's see what we can do here against the f3 variation. I just want to mention a small thing, that even though f3 is played a lot, f3 is technically not the best move in this position, but it is still played a lot because your opponents probably would have prepared a lot against the dragon variation and would do the same against the accelerated dragon as well. Well, I've mentioned the differences between the dragon and the accelerated dragon in the first part of the series. So if you want to know the difference, as I said in the beginning of the video, please watch the first part and the subsequent parts and then come back here. Your understanding will be better, I promise. So if white played f3, which is not the right move, we don't just continue like in the dragon variation with d6. This is normally the position in the dragon variation, and white plays queen d2, black plays something like bd7. I can tell you why black plays bishop d7, because after white castles here, then black is going to play something like queen a5, and after h4 this space is made vacant and we bring our rook here. White plays something like g4, bishop h6, h5, and we play something like b5, b4. We try to attack on the queen side and black attacks on the king side. I mean, it doesn't go like this move by move, because if white played g4 here, then you could just capture the knight and win a piece. Queen takes d4, you can just play n takes g4. This is attack, and after this black wins a piece. It doesn't go as simple as this. Here white can play something like knight takes c6, and avoid any possibility of the rook causing any problems. Here white has a slightly better position. Dragon is still playable, guys, but I just want to mention that dragon is refuted. It's considered refuted in the higher level. So it's not that dragon is not playable, but you would need a lot of preparation. And in this series we are anyway looking at the accelerated dragon, and I've even explained in the first video why accelerated dragon is slightly better. After f3, here we play queen b6. We don't continue with d6, rather we play queen b6, and this is to attack the pawn on b2, as well as force an attacker on the knight on d4. We don't directly do that. We can play n into e4 later if there's an opportunity, and we play n into e4, and there's an attacker from the bishop as well. Like for example, if white played queen d2, there are many ways to continue from here, guys, but what if white played queen d2, then we can just capture this, and after white captures, we can capture it with the bishop, or we could even capture it with the knight. And if white, I mean, don't worry about the pin from this bishop, because if white played c3, we can just play nc
check.
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 And black is clearly better here, so I don't think we have to worry. And if white castled on the queen side, we don't have a problem here as well, because of the surprising move knight takes f3. If bishop into b6, okay, let me just show you this move. If pawn takes the knight, then you got to observe that there's a checkmate.
Checkmate.
Here. So it's pretty straightforward. And if white captured it with the bishop, then we capture the queen here. And if white captured the knight, we capture the bishop. This file is opened as well. And you got to see that we are 2 pawns up. We have 2 extra central pawns. Position looks great for black. It's clearly winning, guys. So queen d2 doesn't look right, even though it's a way to continue here. White generally plays queen d2 in the dragon system, but here it's not a good move at all. So let's consider another variation, that is possibly, what about nf5? The queen is attacked and this bishop is attacked. It looks right, but you can see that white is immediately losing a piece after queen takes b2, because this knight is attacked and this knight is attacked as well. It's attacked simultaneously. So you got to defend one. And let's say white captured this knight, then we can just capture this knight.
Check.
And white has to defend this bishop as well. So if white played something like this, then we are not going to capture this knight right now. We're going to play queen takes c4. We're going to capture this bishop, because this knight is trapped anyways. So it's not causing a problem for us. And the only way for white to defend this knight is by playing bishop h6. Here we can just play something like d5, normally develop our pieces. I don't see a place for this knight to go anywhere. So this knight is almost dead, and this bishop guarding the knight, it doesn't do any functional, I mean it's of no use as well. So we are a piece up here, and there is a strong potential for us to win another piece, and we are a few pawns up as well. It's clearly winning for black, guys. So after nf5, queen takes b2, what if white played something like na4, attacking the queen? Then we can just play queen b4 check.
Check.
Both the pieces are attacked, and I don't see a way to defend both pieces simultaneously. White can play c3 and defend the piece, but we can capture this bishop and we are a solid piece up. After knight takes g7, we can just capture, we are a piece up, a pawn up. and position looks great. There is no castling opportunity, so NF5 is terrible. It was a terrible move. But as I said guys, in this video series I'm gonna cover Accelerated Dragon in depth, and you don't have to worry about seeing new moves in certain positions, but I highly encourage you to learn the concepts behind what I'm trying to say, because you can't just memorize all the moves and play them over the board. It's better to learn them positionally and look at those moves in a certain way such that you can come up with those moves rather than me trying to suggest the moves here. It's like you follow an algorithm, but when a new position arises, you try to modify the algorithm and get into a better position. So what's the other move, guys? White could castle here. White could think that I could sacrifice the pawn on b2, but all my pieces are quite developed, so it's not causing a problem. But after queen takes b2, we can just capture the pawn. And if white played something like nb5, which is the only threatening move, because if ne2, then we don't have to worry at all. We can just play queen b4. But I gotta just warn you that after nb5, this square and this square, they're both restricted for black's queen to go to. So if black played a hasty move like a6, then black is gonna lose his queen after rook b1. There is nowhere for the queen to go, and we are losing our queen. This is clearly winning for white. So after nb5, just make sure once you capture the pawn, make sure to retrieve your queen here. And if he attacks the queen once more, right now he can't attack the queen because this bishop is attacked. If he played something like bb3, we can just capture d6, and we are fine here. If a3, then queen a5. So you should know this concept, guys, that once you capture the pawn on b2, don't forget to retrieve your queen back to once you capture the pawn on b2, don't forget to retrieve the queen back to b4 and then a5, and then somehow make space for the queen to come back. We are a pawn up and we can play the position comfortably. And you got to analyze that after queen takes b2, nb5, queen b4, these pawns are isolated as well, and there is no queenside advantage for white in the end game as well. So with the pawn up and slightly better position, we should be able to win this pretty comfortably. And castling doesn't seem like a good move either. So the only good move in this position is actually bishop b3. But there's one thing I got to tell you guys. Before bishop b3, I got to tell you about a small trap that white can set up here. That is a3. Even though a3 looks harmless, if you just capture the pawn on b2, you got to see that after a3, we can't retrieve our queen back to b4 because the pawn is on a3. So it's like a trap being set. Like if you play queen into b2, white can play in a4, and we can't retrieve our queen back to b4 or b6. So our queen is trapped here, and this is the reason I just wanted to talk about this variation as well. Most of your opponents might not play a3, but I just wanted to cover it so that we don't leave anything behind. a3. So against a3, what you could do is, a3 is actually a weak move. So after a3, you can just continue like in the dragon variation. a3, you can play d6, develop your pieces, and we have a better position here because I somehow don't like the pawn structure that white has right now. I don't say that we have a clear advantage, But if you just analyze this position with an engine, then it's gonna show you that black is better. And I can probably suggest a few more moves here. After a3 d6, if white castled, we can just play bishop d7. And if white played something like b4, then we can play knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, queen c7. So now white's bishop is attacked, and now you can suddenly see that black is getting a solid advantage. If white moved his bishop back here, we can just play e5, and when white moves his bishop somewhere like to e3 or to f2, this knight is hanging. So b4 causes a lot of problems for white. You should know this. If white ever played b4, then you got to see that both the pieces are actually on the same file, and it's not defended as well. So you can just capture here. If white captured with the queen, even now we have a better position, because we can just capture the queen here, and we can play e5 now. And if white played bishop e3, we can just play rook. We can get this rook, as this pawn is attacked by this bishop. We can just get this rook, attack this bishop, and there is no way to attack there's no way to defend both the pieces simultaneously. So white has to give away one piece. He could play bishop b5, but we are not going to capture this bishop. Instead, take this knight. This is attacked as well. Bishop takes d7, knight takes d7, bishop d2, rook into c2. We are a piece up, a pawn up, and we are clearly winning here. So I don't see a3 to be a threatening move. After a3 d6, if white played something like nce2, this is a trap setup again. This is a trap setup again, right, guys? Because after queen takes b2, white is just gonna play bishop b3. nce2 was a very cunning move. After queen takes b2, white can play bishop b3. And there is no way for you to defend the queen now. Let's just say you played something like bishop d7. White will play rook e2, and this queen is gone. There is no way to defend this queen now, and we are thus losing the game as well. So nce2 is a small trap setup. We have to be careful against this. We can just play queen a5 check. And if white played b4, just capture this pawn, capture,
check.
If white played c3 or something, we can just capture the bishop. We are 2 pawns up, and you can see 2 passive pawns. We can just promote the pawns, cause a lot of trouble for white. It's pretty easy to play from here, guys. So after queen a5 check, if white played c3, which is probably the best move, the engine might suggest you to play d5, but that might be the best move in the position. But as I said, this preparation was done together by me and my Russian coach. He's a grandmaster, and we prepared this variation, ne5, which will actually give us a better position in the end games. So we're just gonna keep the pawn on d6, and white has to move his bishop to a2, and you're gonna know in the next move why we played ne5 instead of d5. If white played bishop e2, then we can suddenly see that this diagonal is weaker, because the bishop is because this bishop was here on the c4 square, and now it's retrieved back. So we're gonna take advantage of this, and we can play queen a6, and we are threatening a knight d3 check. So if white wants to castle, then white should castle right away, because or else he'll never have the opportunity. So after castle, I'll show you how we can get a better position here. After castle, we can play bishop d7. If white played b4, we could just play bishop a4. And if white played something like queen d2, we can play rook fc8. We are keeping control of this square and this diagonal, and suddenly this bishop is very strong. And if white play rook fc1 to play c4, the next move, then here we notice that white is playing c4, so we play nc4. And if white captures, we capture. As I said, guys, we have a solid light square diagonal, and we have our light squared bishop, so you should know how to take advantage from this position. You can play you can actually do a lot here. The queen takes c4, you can bring your knight here, play a5, bring your knight here, and once your knight is on e5, this square is weak, this square is weak, and you can see that all his pawns on the queen side, these 3 pawns, are all on dark squares, which means your light squared bishop can alone control all these pawns simultaneously, and we can actually put a lot of pressure on these pawns and probably try to get these pawns as well, as they're already weaker. And this should be an enjoyable position for black to play. So guys, I don't think you should have a problem with the a3 variation, because we considered all the sub variations, and most probably you're not gonna see you're mostly not gonna see the nce2 variation, because if your opponent plays that, then most probably he knows the variation and he's expecting you to fall for the trap. The most logical way to continue would be b4, but if white played b4, then we can just play queen c7. As I said, guys, whenever white plays b4, you can see that both the pieces are on the same file as the queen, and immediately we threaten knight takes d4 and threaten to capture this piece. That is, for example, if white played castle, we take this, queen takes d4, we play ng4, this is attack, this is attack, this is attack. Even though queen d3 might look right, it looks like we are defending all the pieces. N takes e3, queen takes c4, we win a piece, this knight is attacked, and if white moves this knight, then this rook is gone. We are clearly winning here, guys, and I don't think any further analysis is required. So let's consider the best move in the position. That is, after f3, queen b6. What if white defends this pawn by playing bishop b3? So if white played bishop b3, again I want to mention this, guys, the engine might suggest you to play knight takes e4, but I just want to say that after nd5, if you make a mistake here, if you make any small mistakes, the position is almost equal with black having a small advantage. But if you make any mistakes here, you're gonna mess up your game, you're gonna give away a piece, and it's not gonna be easy from here. So instead of knight takes e4, my coach prepared this variation for me. Instead we play ng4, and we're gonna attack this piece, and this piece is attacked as well. So if f takes g4, then we can play bishop takes d4, bishop takes d4, queen takes d4, queen takes d4, knight takes d4. This is attack, and you can see that this pawn structure is quite terrible. White wouldn't want to play this position because we are on the 12th move, and if the queens are exchanged before the 12th move, and if white is having this kind of pawn structure, then we know that we have done well with black. So I don't think he's gonna capture this anyway. I don't think he's gonna capture this knight anyway. So what if white played something like knight d5? Guys, if white played knight d5, then we don't have to worry at all, because we can just capture this bishop. If he captured, then this piece is gone. If he captured the queen, then we can capture the queen as well. We can capture this pawn. And you have to see that black is clearly winning here, because this knight is trapped and has nowhere to go. And this bishop is almost getting trapped as well. We can play a5, a4 and b5. So I don't see a way how white can defend this piece, the knight on e8. If white played king e2, we can play bishop d7. This is attacked, and after knight c7, rook c8. Now this piece is trapped. There is nowhere for white to go. White played in d5, pawn d5, and now we can play a5. If white played a4, which is probably the best move, b5.
Check.
Now we can play a4, bishop a2,
check,
and we are clearly winning here, guys. We have two pieces for the rook, we have a pass pawn, and it's clearly winning. White's pieces are too passive to actually do any damage. It's clearly winning for black. If black played this, if white played this, we can just play check.
check,
If f4, a check.
check,
If king f2, then we can play a check as well.
check,
King, there's only one place for the king to go now. We can just play rook c2, and I don't see how white can avoid a checkmate on f2, because next move is a checkmate, and white should play something like this. We don't have to worry if white played rook f1, we don't capture it with the bishop, but instead
checkmate.
So that's it, guys, and you got to see that nd5 doesn't work for white. It's actually a terrible move. And you saw how to refute nd5, which seems a bit dangerous in this position, but it's actually not. And we saw f into g4, which will give us a better endgame. So let's just consider another small variation here. So that's na4. So against na4, we can just similarly capture this bishop, and after white captures the queen, I can show you a small sub-variation that might interest you. Because after n takes d1, knight takes a8, knight into b2, we actually end up in the same position as before. So if you like to play in this position, that's great. It's easily winning for black. But I can show you another small sub-variation. Here you could just capture this knight instead of capturing the queen. And if white captured the rook, then we're gonna capture this queen, and we'll be material up, and it's easily winning for black. If white played queen d2 or queen e2, then we can capture this knight, and white can castle here, so they can white can have a rook connectivity. So if white played this, for example, there are only two places for the king to go. One is here, one is here. White played here, check, a check from the bishop, and then we captured this rook,
check,
and later we play in d4, capture this this bishop as well. So it's pretty easy to play from here, guys. We are clearly material up, and so you shouldn't have any problems there. If white played king d2, which is the better move among the two, then we can play once again guys, the engine might suggest you d5. I've seen this move as well, but I just want to tell you that in the dragon variation or in the accelerated dragon variation, white's bishop is usually quite strong. So if we ever get an opportunity to exchange this bishop with our bishop or with the knight, then we utilize the opportunity, and or we just reduce the chance of white ever getting an attack, because after h4, h5, g6, white is going to get a strong attack, and we are not going to let that happen. So we can play an a5. If h4, in takes b3 check.
Check.
And now we can play d5. We just play d5 here so that we can get our rook. We can get this rook here, make places for the rook, and we have a clear advantage here, guys. I mean, if you want me to continue from here, probably I could analyze for a few moves. d5 if white capture, or if, let's just say if white played something dangerous like h5. If white captured the pawn, it would have been easy. Knight takes d5, rook d8, and it's easy for black to play from here. But if white played something like h5, then we can just capture this pawn. And if white captured, then we can play bishop g4. And I don't see any place for the queen to go, because after queen d3, then we can play rook a d8. Queen is gone. What other places? If queen f2, then we can play nc4 check.
Check.
And then capture this queen. White has this possibility as well. If queen b5, we can play a check.
Check.
If king c1, we could probably play something like rook a c8. If h takes g6, check.
Check.
And now we can capture it with this pawn. And I don't see anything for white, guys. It's pretty easy to continue from black. If white played something like rook h4, we could just play rook d1 check.
Check.
Here, yeah, there's a small tactic here. You could play rook b2
Check.
check. If white captured, then bd4 check.
Check.
There's a mate in 3 here. King a3.
Check.
Now it's a checkmate.
Checkmate.
So this was a detailed analysis of this sub-variation, but I just want to tell you that if you get your rook to this free file on d8, and if you get another rook here, and if you ever get an opportunity to get your rook to the 7th rank, that is on the second rank of, that is the second rank which is shown on the board, but 7th rank relative to your position, it's gonna be pretty easy for you guys, and this position shouldn't be a problem at all. And if d5, if white played h5, if white played h takes g6, we can just capture it with this pawn. If takes e4, we could play bishop e6, or even bishop g4 is alright as well. If white played, we saw queen b5. If white played queen e1, then we can just play rook a8
Check. Check.
We can win back the queen easily, and it's pretty easy to play from here, guys. If white captured this with the intention of getting 2 pieces, I just want to let you know that this rook is on the same file as the king, and we're gonna win that rook.
Check.
So it's pretty easy, guys. This sub variation is gonna get you into a clearly winning position, and I hope I have covered all the variations and sub variations of the bishop c4 system followed by f3. In the next video, I shall cover the bishop b3 subvariation, and we're gonna see bishop b3 subvariation in depth. So I hope you like this video. I hope you like the analysis, and if you've enjoyed watching these videos and if you feel like you've learned something, then the only thing I can ask from you guys is please subscribe to my channel, guys, and hit the bell button as well, because it's gonna show up whenever it's gonna show you an update. It's gonna give you an update whenever I upload a new video. That's it, guys. And don't forget to like upvote the video, and you should probably leave a comment down below about what I can do in my future videos. I'm probably gonna do that. And if you need any particular help, then I'm available for coaching as well. You can contact me on ICC. My account name is Nagesh Chess. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.